Have you ever thought working with villagers is a pain? Did you ever want to have an awesome trading hall in your world or server so you don't have to mine for all your gear, but it ended up being too much work? Well, today I'll be showing you the most effective ways to get stacked using villagers. This video will be split into 4 parts. First, I'll go over every type of villager and their behavior. After that, I'll be showing you the best trades to get absolutely kitted out. Then we'll be taking a look at the best ways to get lots of emeralds fast. And finally, I'll teach you how to transport villagers and set them up in trading halls super easily. So let's get right into it. Villagers are passive mobs with the ability to trade items to the player. They only spawn in villages or igloos, and when they spawn, adult villagers can either be unemployed villagers or nitwits. Nitwits cannot trade or find a job, but unemployed villagers will wander around looking for a free workstation. If they succeed, they will link themselves to the workstation and become one of the 13 villager professions, which vary depending on the workstation. Smithing tables are the block for toolsmiths, which trade tools in exchange for emeralds and will buy materials to make tools, such as iron ingots or diamonds. Grindstones are for weaponsmiths, which can sell swords and axes and buy the same materials as the toolsmith. Blast furnaces make armorers, which give you pieces of armor in return for emeralds and buy the same materials as the other smiths. Composters create farmers, which buy different crops from you and sell you craftable food items like bread or cookies. Smokers are the block for butchers, which will buy raw meat from you and sell you cooked meat and related foods. Next up are fishermen, which are created with a barrel. They'll buy raw fish and sell different sea-related items. Leather workers use a cauldron and can sell you dyed leather armor and leather items. They will also give you emeralds in exchange for leather. Looms are the block for shepherds, which will buy wool from you and sell you wool-related items, like banners or carpets. Fletching tables are for, you guessed it, fletchers. They'll sell you bows, crossbows, and arrows, and buy the materials necessary for making them, like string or flint. Lecterns make librarians. They'll sell you enchanted books, lanterns, bookshelves, and name tags, and will buy books and paper. Cartography tables are obviously the block for cartographers, which will give you maps to different structures in exchange for emeralds and compasses. Stone cutters are the block for masons, which buy and sell stone-related blocks and items. Finally, clerics are made with brewing stands, and will sell you a variety of magical items like lapis lazuli or ender pearls. They'll also buy potion supplies like redstone, nether wart, or bottles. When it's night, villagers will sleep on a bed if they have access to it, and if you drop them large amounts of bread, carrots, potatoes, or beetroot, they'll breed and make a baby villager as long as there are more beds than villagers in the area. When a villager is killed by a zombie, husk, or drowned, they have a chance of turning into a zombie villager. This probability is 0% on easy difficulty, 50% on normal, and 100% on hard. Zombie villagers can be cured by being splashed with a weakness potion and fed a golden apple by right-clicking them with it. After around 5 minutes, they'll turn back into a villager and decrease the prices for the player who cured them. Be careful when you have fed them the golden apple though, since they gain strength while they're being cured. As for the villagers that can help you get tons of good items, there are mainly 6. Armorers can get you every piece of diamond armor when at maximum level, with enchantments like the ones you would get from an enchantment table at levels 5 to 19. These villagers can also sell you shields, which are always useful. Master weaponsmiths will give you access to enchanted diamond swords and axes, again with enchantment levels 5 to 19. Maxed out toolsmiths will sell you enchanted diamond pickaxes, axes, and shovels. They also have a chance to sell you unenchanted diamond hoes. However, as we know, the maximum enchantment level is 30, not 19. So you'll need to use another villager to get top tier enchants on your armor, weapons, and tools. This is where librarians come in handy. At level 1, these villagers have a 2/3 chance to sell an enchanted book with any enchantment at any level obtainable in survival, except for Soul Speed, Swift Sneak, and Windburst. This includes treasure enchantments like Mending, or high level enchantments that are normally very hard to get on an enchantment table, like Sharpness 5. Finally, clerics can sell you redstone for potions and mechanisms, lapis lazuli for enchanting, and at their master tier, ender pearls and experience bottles, which are very useful items even in the late game. The amount of villagers you'll need varies depending on your needs. If you're playing on your own on a survival world or in a survival server in which PvP is off, you should have at least one of each of the smith villagers, one cleric, and 5 to 10 librarians with all the enchantments you need. However, if you play in an Anarchy SMP where PvP is very important, I suggest having 2 clerics for a better supply of pearls and XP bottles, a Fletcher which you can use to get arrows of farming and a good supply of bows and crossbows, as well as 7 to 12 villagers with all of the max out combat enchantments. Additionally, it is useful to get a farmer villager, since they can sell you apples which you can use to craft golden apples for healing quickly. There are many ways you can get emeralds in Minecraft. However, if you want a good supply so that you can quickly max out your villagers and constantly trade with them, not every method will do. I'll show you what right now are the best ways of getting tons of emeralds very fast. 2/3 of all novice Fletcher villagers will buy 32 sticks for 1 emerald. This is an extremely popular way to get your first emeralds. Since sticks are very easy to obtain, you can perform this sale 16 times before the villager has to restock, or 32 times a day, which means you'll get a maximum of 32 emeralds per villager and per day, which will require 2 stacks of logs. The only requirement is being in an area with trees or having saplings and bone meal at hand. I recommend using the large spruce trees that grow with 4 saplings in a 2x2 square, since they give you the most wood per sapling in the least time, as you can climb up them in a staircase like so, and then chop down the logs below you. However, as good as this may sound, cutting down trees actually takes up quite a bit of time. You'll almost always gather wood at a faster rate than your villagers can restock, but you have to spend several minutes of your Minecraft sessions doing so. At a later game stage, you can automate this with a tree farm, but it is not recommended since other farms are more efficient at getting you emeralds. In general, this method is very easy to do and gets you good emerald rates, but it takes up a lot of your time, and it requires space to cut down trees, which means it is harder to hide your trading area. I recommend doing this if you don't use villagers a lot but you want them to get some specific items, or just as a temporary way to get emeralds so that you can level up your trading hall. The best is to have 4 Fletchers to maximize the amount of emeralds you'll get per day, still giving you time to cut down trees. 2/3 of all Master Fletcher villagers will buy 8 tripwire hooks for 1 emerald. This might seem like a silly idea, since to craft tripwire hooks, you need both wood and iron, but there is a glitch not many people know about which lets you duplicate tripwire hooks. You can make an automatic setup following these steps. When you sell the hooks you gather, the villager will buy them 12 times before having to restock, which gives you a maximum of 24 emeralds per villager and per day, by selling a total of 3 stacks of hooks. If you don't mind using glitches to get emeralds and you're playing on a server that allows duping, you can make lots of emeralds with barely any work. This method is pretty easy to set up and hide and grants you decent emerald rates, especially if you have a lot of Fletchers. On the downside though, it is not allowed on some SMPs, and you need to level up your Fletchers to the maximum before being able to do it. I recommend doing this if you're on an Anarchy SMP that allows duplication, or on a survival world you dedicate time to if you don't mind using glitches, since it allows you to gear up very fast when combined with the other villagers. A good permanent setup is having 2 duplicators and 6 Fletchers, but you can also make a temporary setup to level up your villagers with 1 duper and a couple of Fletchers. 2/3 of all novice librarians or cartographers buy 24 paper for 1 emerald, which allows you to get a good supply as long as you have a constant way of getting sugarcane. Luckily for us, there's tons of automatic farm designs out there. I'll show you how to construct a simple one that you can build on your survival world or server. But if you want a more complex and efficient design, I'll leave a tutorial by Adil Gamez down in the description. Once you have your sugarcane supply, you can start trading paper to get a maximum of 32 emeralds per villager and per day, selling up to 12 stacks of paper. On one hand, this method grants you pretty good emerald rates, and the leftover sugarcane from your farm won't be wasted, since it's a very useful item in general. On the other hand, it's not efficient unless you have a powerful farm or a large simple farm, which also takes up a lot of space. I recommend doing this on technical survival worlds or cooperative servers, but not on servers which allow PvP and much less in Anarchy ones, since it makes your base much easier to find. To do this method properly, you'll either need 8 modules like the one I showed you earlier, or 1 powerful farm like the one in the description, as well as 4 to 6 villagers, preferably librarians, as they can also sell you enchanted books. All journeyman farmer villagers have a 100% chance to trade you 4 melons for 1 emerald. So, as long as you can get a decent amount of melons, you can get emeralds. Just like with sugarcane, there are many designs for automatic melon farms. However, the steps for these are too lengthy to fit in this video, so I'll be leaving a tutorial by Shulkercraft down in the description. Once you've got your melons, you'll be able to trade them to get a maximum of 24 emeralds per villager and per day, for which you'll need a stack and a half of melons. This method is very efficient if you have a lot of farmers and does not require much redstone knowledge, but the melon farm itself is still sort of large. It can be hard to hide if you are on a server that allows griefing. In general, I recommend doing this on any kind of survival world, technical, goals, or casual, and on cooperative servers, but not on anarchic ones. The proper way to set up for lots of emeralds is with 2 layers of the farm I just showed and 8 to 12 farmer villagers. Toolsmith and weaponsmith villagers have a 100% chance to trade 4 iron for 1 emerald at their journeyman stage. Iron is somewhat tedious to obtain if you have to go mining for it, which is why I'll now show you a very simple and easy iron farm design made by Voltrox, which you can build in your world or server to get iron for trading. After getting the iron from your farm, you can trade up to 24 emeralds per villager and per day, for which you'll need a stack and a half of iron ingots. This method is probably the most efficient if you have enough farms and villagers. Plus, iron has a lot of uses apart from trading, so your farms will always be useful. The only downside to this process is that iron farms are loud, no matter what you do. So if you're building this on an Anarchy server, you'll have to hide it a long way underground, and even then, people who are mining might still be able to hear it. I think you should definitely use this method if you are on any kind of survival world, or on a server with no PvP or griefing. And even in an Anarchy server, it's still probably worth the risk. To properly use iron to gather your emeralds, my recommendation is that you have 2 of these farms running at the same time, and 8 to 12 villagers to trade the iron to. When you stand within a village while having the bad omen effect, you'll trigger an Elytra raid, in which pillagers, vindicators, evokers, ravagers, and witches will attack your village and try to kill you and the villagers. Completing these raids has many uses, but the one we'll be focusing on today is the fact that vindicators drop emeralds upon death. Now, constantly fighting raids at a village could be a way of getting emeralds, but it's very inefficient, so we need a way to automate this. As we saw with the iron farm, Minecraft has a very minimalistic concept of what a village is. So with the right setup, you can create a very efficient raid farm, which will get you thousands of emeralds per hour. The design I recommend is by Theysix, but like with the Melon farm, the building process is too long to show in this video, so I'll leave their tutorial down in the description. If you're gonna use this method, I recommend watching it after you finish this video so you have a clear idea of what you're doing. Once you have your farm, you can start using it. This will get you around 7,000 emeralds per hour, as well as a good amount of totems of undying and other useful supplies. The pros of this method is that it is incredibly efficient, and that it does not require to trade with villagers in order to get the emeralds themselves. As a bonus, it grants you large amounts of totems and experience. The downsides, however, are that the farm itself is somewhat large, which means it takes some time to build, and it's also hard to hide, since building it underground heavily damages its efficiency. You'll also need to collect ominous bottles from pillager outposts or trial chambers. Overall, I recommend this method if you are in any technical world or on a survival world or server with big projects. You can build it on an Anarchy server, but make sure you're very far away from spawn and other players. Just 1 hour of AFKing in this farm should be enough to get the emeralds to level up every villager you need and get you geared up. Most people don't bother setting up their villagers in trading halls because they think it takes a lot of work. But today, you'll learn how to set up your own hall in just 5 easy steps. To start off, you'll need to gather 2 villagers from a nearby village. You can find a village by just wandering around, but finding them is the easy part. In order to transport your villagers without wanting to quit the game forever, you'll need to use one of 3 specific transportation methods. The first one is just tricking villagers into walking to your base. To do this, you'll need to use a workstation for daytime and a bed for the night. What you want to do is place the block about 15 to 20 blocks away from the villagers in your base's direction. The villagers will try to walk to it to claim the job or sleep, so when they're close enough, just break the block and repeat the process. This method can work well if you're building your trading hall close to the village. Secondly, you can use minecarts. If you have enough iron to build a railway, you can just trap both villagers and minecarts like so and move them over to wherever your trading area is. This method works well if you have to move villagers upwards at great height. The last and most efficient transportation method we'll be covering is Elytra boat gliding. To do it, simply get 2 villagers in a boat and attach a lead to it. After that, start building up as much as you can. Once you're high enough, activate your Elytra and aim your camera slightly downward. Then use a firework rocket and immediately look up. If you time it right, you'll be able to carry you and the villagers over 1,000 blocks with just 1 rocket. If you're confident in your timings, you can also do it by flying up with a firework rocket directly from the ground and shaking your camera right after using it to reduce your vertical velocity. Alternatively, if you're sure you want to queue your villagers and you know your server isn't hard, you can just wait for 2 zombie villagers to spawn near your base and trap them in boats or minecarts to save yourself some work. The second step is to make a breeder with your villagers. If you think that you'll never need more than 10 villagers though, it's more worth it to breed them in your trading area than to set up the breeder. This is a quick and compact breeder design which can get you all the villagers you need. Next, you want to cure your villagers. This is actually an optional step, which can help you if you trade a lot, since it can significantly lower the prices of all the items. Be aware that you need weakness potions, which don't actually require nether wart, by the way, as well as golden apples, to convert your zombie villagers back into villagers. To make the curing process easier, it's best to set the zombie and villagers up in a particular way. Place the zombie in a setup like this so it can't escape, then make the villagers ride past and get zombified. Once they're all ready, just throw the weakness potion at all of them and feed them the golden apples. After 5 minutes, they'll all be cured. After that, you need to move your villagers into their respective trading spots and set up their workstations. To do this, set up 3 by 1 by 3 spaces for all of your villagers like so, and place a bed in each of them. Then wait until it turns nighttime and free the villagers from wherever you keep them. They'll each run to a bed and sleep in it. Then just place a block and a trapdoor like this to trap them in. Then break the bed, move them towards you with water, and place blocks behind and over them to fully trap them. After this, you can just place the workstations in front of them to get them to start working. Finally, use whichever emerald gathering method you chose to get a lot of emeralds, and level up the villagers that have good traits at max levels, or log the book traits in case of librarians. With that, your trading haul is complete. And that's all for this video. If you think this guide was helpful, leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see another tutorial by me, click on this video, I'm sure you'll like it as well.